Round 4 of the World Series Sprint Cars. John Hughes is in the pits with some competitors.
So I understand the series here in Australia right now is equal to what it is in America. There's no difference. You know, the type of cars in the pits and the trucks and the trailers, I told Gary last week, just like being on the Outlaw Trail. No different.
You know, I've only ran 2 tracks on the East Coast, Mount Gambier and Warrnambool, so I look forward to going to all the new tracks. You know, it's just another track with 4 corners and 2 straightaways, so hopefully we can adapt to them.
You've made the trip over from Perth, I understand, on the road. Was that a bit of an experience?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's a lot different than where I come from. At least where I come from, every 10, 15 miles, you got a place to stop and have a restaurant and nice food and everything in here. And here it seems like you got to run over your food to get it, you know? So it's different.
From Sydney to Adelaide in the blink of an eye, this is round 4 of the World Series Sprint Cars. $500,000 in travel and prize contingencies. And this is just the week after the Western Swing, and Speedway City in South Australia, still one of the nicest speedway complexes in the country, purpose-built out in Virginia. And you can see young Drew Cruck starting on the pole position alongside Ant Kinley, 2 of the youngsters of sprint car racing. Good crowd in attendance here. And Max Dumesny on a racetrack that he has generally prospered at, although he'll remember from last year when he led this race, broke something in the steering and stuffed it in the wall with 1 lap to go. You can see out in front now is Max Dumesny from Nelson in New South Wales. Expatriate Victorian Stephen Bell is out there in the 69 wheelie waste car. It's like Drew Cruck might have been going to the infield, or was that McComb? Back onto the main straight. And it's Stephen Bell starting to come up. It was Cruck that went to the infield. McComb is working up high. Stephen Bell, former Victorian Formula 500 driver, JJ Manif is joining me. Is a very good young racer.
Yeah, he's only been in the sprint car a little while and he's already running up front with these guys. It's a great effort.
Look at McComb, very aggressive. Just rubbed McKinley out of the way. Ant Kinley it is in car number 45. And Peter Smith, one of the local hopes here in car number 8. Up into what is about the 3rd spot now, because Max Dumesny a long way out in front in the Ian Vale tune, number 1 J&J. Originally they were going to use new cars for this year, but I understand they've stayed with the tried and true car. Whoa! Problem there, contact between Anderson and Kinley. What has that done to the front end apart from destroyed it?
Looks like it's probably broken a radius rod, which is what's used to locate the axle in the car from the chassis to the axle. So it looks like it's broken 1 or 2 of those.
So we've just relocated the axle as Max Dumesny looks like he may relocate the sump. Look at this! Big oil fire for Max Dumesny, and within sight of the checker too. Back onto the main straight. Well, Dumesny, it's very rare you see Max Dumesny lose an engine. A lot of oil in the pipes just there. Max is probably watching the oil pressure gauge thinking, no problem here just yet, but bang, something's about to go wrong. Look at that. Big fire really early. Would he see that much flame?
He'd probably see the flame. Sometimes it sounds crazy, but he would have seen the smoke there at the end, but when the smoke first started coming out, he wouldn't have seen it in the car, but that looks like a pretty big blow-up.
Well, out in front, that leaves it to Dean McComb out of Queensland from local hero South Aussie. Number 8 car of Peter Smith. Back onto the main straight, 1 lap left to travel. Well, the Dumesny team are going to have to effect a motor change. Out of turn number 2, Dean McComb, class operator in world-class machinery in the Eagle chassis for this year. Out of turn number 4, he'll wrap it up. Back in the 2nd spot will be Peter Smith. Long way back to 3rd, that'll go to Stephen Bell. Back to David Anderson. And back to Scotty Milling. 10 laps down very quickly. Incident-free, in fact, and Dean McComb victorious.
Okay.
And you can see a couple of very talented drivers back in the field, set to cause some guys up the front a whole lot of grief if they don't get the job done early. I'm talking, of course, of Dumesny, who's just changed an engine. Huge wreck on the main straight. Oh, no. Well, definitely some trouble here. A lot of cars torn up in this incident. We look, there's contact between the 2 cars in the front row. Oh, look at that. Dumesny had nowhere to go. Anderson, well, you don't have to be dead to be stiff. He had almost shot through the inside then. It didn't quite work out for him. There's a lot of gear torn up without even a lap in the book. That has really got to make you sad.
Yeah, just at the start of the race, just nowhere to go.
Well, we're green flag now, minus a lot of race cars. Dumesny has got out of that remarkably. That's a Houdini job, JJ. How did he get out of that?
I have no idea. It looked like he got hit pretty hard, but Max somehow got out of it.
They must build them cars pretty strong down in Victoria in the Vale workshop. Long way back now, Dumesny. Andrew Shirley is there. There is Randy Hannigan. Kerry Madsen going to the outside as well. Now, Brooke Tatnell, got to be fair to say here, has had a lot of experience and a lot of big wins at this particular circuit. And on a personal level, I've watched a lot of great racing here. It's just a nipper. In fact, in 10, 11, 12 years of age, as we see Tony Bartlett in car number 75, another one of the local drivers. Speaking of which, used to see some tremendous racing from Wild Bill Barrows, from Zeke Agars, from Darryl Downing, from Tom Tomlinson. I mean, Rick Cobby, the list just went on and on. And South Australian sprint car racing over the years. Phil March is another one of the great drivers from the past. I don't think March is running this series this year, which is a bit of a shame because he's ultra competitive. Dumesny was always strong around this place. So too was Brett Lacey when he ran that experimental car with no front wing. Remember that one?
Yeah, that was a really bizarre car. The hood was shaped so he didn't have to run a front wing, but it's good people out there trying different things. I mean, otherwise the cars would just never change.
Well, Brooke Tatnell out in front. This is one thing that's not changing in this heat race. He is a long way gone from Sans Souci in New South Wales. Getting on these days. He's, what, 27 years of age? He's coming up on 10 years. 11 years of sprint car competition. Seems absolutely remarkable. It's no surprise he knows how to turn left. Back onto the main straight. Bartlett still in the second spot. Dumesny fighting hard to hold off Kerry Madsen off the shot. Madsen on a track like this, we can see the track will start to dry out a little bit by main event time. I think Madsen could have something for these guys.
Yeah, that's right. With the World Series deal, they qualify, they time trial early in the night, so usually the tracks are a little bit slicker than we usually see for a regular weekly show. So here you can see Kerry Madsen working the outside. He'll try and use momentum to his advantage.
Very talented race car driver. In fact, the young man on his left is no slouch either. From Toowoomba, Andrew Shirley very nearly tagged the left rear. And Shirl's plenty of ability. Here comes Madsen on a mission, looking for the outside. The beautifully turned out 75 of Bartlett. Round the outside he goes and wraps up second place. Good drive. Tatnell gets the win from Madsen back then to Bartlett. Dumesny well back in the order as well. Round 4 of the $500,000 travelling high wire show that is World Series Sprint Cars. Local hero Peter Smith on the pole position. You were saying something before about his occupation, JJ Maneve?
Yeah, the local public, and you'd have to hope after that dash win he's got the beers on tonight.
I tell you what, they'll be on the house if he wins this one, that's for sure. Something that we need to mention, Skip Jackson, a driver who just does what is necessary. It's almost surgical in his approach. You notice that he's ended up on the front row.
Yeah, Skip, again, you know, he's just a quiet achiever there. He's always near the front. It's only the start of the race. Long way to go, so we just have to wait and see how he ends up.
Robbie Farr alongside Brooke Tatnell. Well, Peter Smith is really going to have to dig deep here. Out of turn number 4, he's hoping that a win is on tap. The Republican as we go into turn number 1 and 2. That was terrible, sorry about that. And look at this track drying out already. I think we're going to see a dynamite race, JJ Maneve, and a lesson in those who know the meaning of throttle control. Farr into second, Smith back to third, and I noticed that guys like already, Brooke Tatnell has the wing a bit further back now, starting to hook the car up a little more.
Yeah, the track's drying out. It's what you got to remember. A lot of these cars, they run a hydraulic wing. In saying that, there's a hydraulic ram which can control the wing. There's a little joystick in the car. The guys can move it back and forward as the race goes on. As the track dries out, you start pulling the wing back, gives you more traction on the rear end.
Well, Randy Hannigan, no problem for traction in the rear end there. You can see him picking up the front of the THR Scotty Milling-owned H&M Racing entry. There's Robbie Farr, left arm fully extended as he comes out of turn number 2. Such a small, hooky, fast little place. It must seem like you cover this place in amazingly quick time. There's no time to relax at any point in the circuit. Smith is still in third. Skip will be a study in concentration and a study in keeping a race car straight. I'm looking to see whether Madsen can make any impact. We talked about his experience on tracks like this, but he's got a shocker of a start.
Yeah, it's just so hard to get by at the start. This car's going everywhere, but as the race settles down, you can get that cushion working. Hopefully people won't sort of dust up the cushion, and you can try and get that working as the race goes on. It's just kind of a sit and wait type thing.
Well, look at Brooke Tatnell working the inside line. In fact, the almost the 3-car trick really there on Peter Smith. And you can see right behind him, the Titan Garage is number 21 of Dean McComb. JJ, one of the, I think, the most exciting things about racing here in the World Series competition is that Queensland sprint car racing has started to come to the fore. Good young guys like that man on the screen right there, Andrew Shirley, with Dean McComb, with Drew Quack getting more experience. Hopefully soon, Anthony Lambert coming back to competition. Things look very good in the Sunshine State.
Things look good in the Sunshine State, and this, World Series travelling around Australia, it's giving all the fans in all the different cities a chance to see all these great races, so it's really good for the sport.
Well, trouble there for, it is Mike Van Bremen, the number 6 car going to the infield. Another one too that you can't see just off the camera is Ryan Farrell, the young West Aussie, 24 years of age, who did so well in rounds 1 through 3. qualified 10th quick tonight and is running back in the order just a little bit, but a track he has very little experience on, so he's just trying to hammer in some points. There's one of the local hopes, Trevor Green, sitting behind Kerry Madsen. Green needs to move forward. Not a huge amount of passing at the moment. You've got to be careful not to lose your spot. You'll get hung out to dry, JJ. It'll be hard work getting your spot back.
Yeah, that's right. The racetrack at the moment's pretty nice on the bottom, and it's like marbly on the top. When I say that, it's really slippery if you get up there. Another thing to remember with this World Series competition is all the cars have to run a control tyre, and when I say that, it's a tyre which is the same compound. Everyone must run it. So you'll see the guys a lot of the time at the start of the race, if they look after their tyre a little bit, as the race goes on, they can actually go faster than the guys who've burnt their tyre off early in the race.
Into turn number 3 and 4, let's have a look right here at maybe who's done the best job, but I don't think we'll know that until we get to see them in the presentation stage. You can see that Brooke right up behind Robbie Farr now. Farr has very little experience at this racetrack when you compare him to Brooke Tatnell. Say wisps of blue smoke from the left-hand side of the number 8 car of Tatnell. Let's hope there's no dramas there. He had a shocking western swing with bad luck plaguing him throughout. See what, there's more photographers out there than the OJ trial. Back out the back straight, and there's the Wagga Mobile Cranes 37 of David Anderson and Mark Reuter just up ahead of him. Mark Reuter, the son of Gary Reuter, one of South Australia's most celebrated super sedan drivers, as a matter of fact. Went to Speedcars briefly and then to Sprinters. Nice to see that South Australia has some new exciting talent too.
Yeah, it's good to see. I mean, every state has sort of got some new great races coming along, so it's good for the sport.
Back onto turn number 1 and 2 we run. Brooke Tatnell. I tell you what, Robbie Farr has not let Skip Jackson get too far away here. Lap traffic could play its part at Speedway City. You can't afford to mess around with it. Robbie Farr is getting reeled in by Brooke Tatnell. Yeah, Brian Aluminium, number 3 Avenger. It's been so hot at Parramatta this year. Had a disappointing western swing by his own standards. Now back at Speedway City running in the top 3. You know you'll be satisfied if you can just hang on to this result. But at the moment, second is not an option because Skipper is not that far in front. The little bloke needs to get a move on, and he's got to cut through traffic because Farr and Tatnell could cause him some grief.
Yeah, again, we're seeing the same kind of thing that we saw in a couple of West Australian races where the leader gets into traffic, the guys in second and third run him down, and it makes for a good race. And again, unfortunately, there's no mirrors, no one can see what's going on behind him. So the leader, he doesn't know those guys are there.
Wanless got right up against the wall going into turn number 3. A couple of years ago, they used to have the Hoffman's Dry Cleaners sign on the back straight. If you hit that sign, you got your race suit dry cleaned for free, but it always cost you a couple $1,000 to get it done. Into turn number 3 and 4 we go. Tatnell right up behind. Look at this, the first 3 cars, and they're right there coming up behind Milling now. Oh, Brooke, a little bit average there, and coming out of turn number 2, bit how's your father? Now he dives in underneath Milling, who goes high, and Robbie Farr's got the teeth gritted now. He knows that Skip Jackson's just up ahead. A win is a whole lot sweeter than second. Brooke Tatnell knows he's there as well. This is a fabulous race, JJ. We're going to go right down to the wire.
Yeah, everyone's just working on the same part of the racetrack at the moment. It's tough to pass, but everyone's just running so close. It's just the quality of the field. The race has gone non-stop, and they've lapped 1 or 2 cars only.
There is Ryan Farrell. We talked about the young West Aussie in the Kendrick Racing PMFM 92.9 entry. Just behind him, David Anderson, who always fares so very well at the circuit. Mark Reuter about to go a lap down. So is Stephen Bell. The young Victorian driving car number 69. Farr under siege now from Tatnell. This is just great racing, and of course at this point in the race, it's where your arms start to feel like they're lead, your neck starts to ache, and you're starting to get tired. You're starting to get to race parts of the racetrack that you're not really ready to be there for.
That's right. This is the part of the race where the racers who are a lot fitter than the other people, they'll come to the fore. You see them go forward. Skip Jackson's been racing in Knoxville all year. Brooke Tatnell's been racing with the World of Outlaws, and Robbie Farr, he's just a fit guy too. So I don't think you'll see any of these guys drop off compared to each other.
Well, Skip Jackson encounters lap traffic with a corner to go that he didn't want, but he gets it just from Robbie Farr in second and Brooke Tatnell in third. Well, that rounds out our coverage. We hope you've enjoyed it. Just get ready for round 5 coming up soon at Avalon, Victoria.
Everything worked out pretty good for us. We kind of struggled a little bit in Western Australia. I was very disappointed that we didn't win at Claremont, but Tim worked on the car real hard this week, and all of us put our heads together to try and make this car a little bit better, and tonight everything from this skilled car came to fruition. It worked out pretty good.
Some of the other competitors must be looking at you right now and saying you won 2 series on the trot and you're well ahead in the points after tonight. What have they got to look forward to?
Well, there's a long way to go yet. As I say, 4th round of a 15-round series. Anything can and will happen, so we just got to hang in there. At the moment, we're fortunate enough, things going our way, but we just got to hang in there and just keep concentrating on what we're doing.
We've sort of struggled a little bit in Perth. We've been running our home track at Parramatta and running pretty good, and we sort of went over to Perth and got a bit of a shock. So it's good to get back on track tonight and get some points and sort of shoot back up there in the top 10. You know, now we've got Adelaide on the next meeting, so hopefully we can carry a bit of momentum into that race.
It's been a tough night, let me tell you. We were pretty good, but I got held up behind Kerry early and I was on the bottom when Skip and Robbie were up high. By the time I got to them, they'd already moved to the bottom and got on the racetrack that I was trying to use. And we tried to make it exciting by going around the outside, but we were good entering, but you just couldn't come off. So we've just been struggling trying to get this batch of tyres that we've got this year. They seem to be coming up all oddball sizes, and it's been a hard time trying to get the right amount of stagger. And it sort of caught us out a little bit, but we're just happy to be up on the podium and trying to peg back a few points on these other place getters.
When last we left the IndyCar...
This is round